Barcelona, the land of jamón. How can a vegan of all creatures actually survive here without constantly indulging in salty, rotting pig carcass? Quick chat with my tofu haters on camera too. Hi there. The next time you say, tofu? Blech, how can you possibly eat tofu? Just remember what you're stuffing down your face hole when you eat jamón. Literally rotting pig carcass. Controlled rotting, but rotting nonetheless. So yeah, I'll take the tofu. Now where was I? Oh right, how can a vegan survive in the land of jamón? Super easy it turns out. Really not hard at all. Lots of options. I mean, look at this happy cow map. Todo bien aquí, amigos. These people especially know what I'm talking about. We've got Sandra from Vegan Tours Barcelona, Marco from Botanic, Manel from Potstad, and my new best friend, if she'll have me, Laura Bonnet, who earlier this year opened the city's first vegan cooking school within Bloom. She's also on YouTube veganing around the world with her partner, so you can go check that out after we're done here. First, I head to Vegetalia to meet up with Sandra, who's absolutely thrilled to be on camera.
Madre mía, ¿en dónde me metes, Joe?
We're eating backwards today, so I start with a vegan spin on crema catalana.
Crema catalana. Crema catalana is a traditional Catalan dessert, and there's a story behind that tells that in order to recreate dessert, there were some nuns waiting for the visit of a bishop, and they were in a rush, so they were mixing eggs and milk, and at some point the result wasn't as good as they expected. So they tried to make it up, putting some sugar and burn it on the top. So it looked more like a solid piece of dessert. And yeah, it's a really traditional one. It feels like a crème brûlée, French one, but with our style. It has a pinch of lemon zest and vanilla. And the vegan way, it's made with soya milk, cornstarch, and a pinch of turmeric for the yellow color.
I assume we don't usually have dessert at 4:30 and then go to dinner at the life of a food guide. After our early dessert, don't tell mom and dad, we head out to a quiet plaza to chat a bit more about how vegans are surviving in the land of jamón. Talk a little bit about what's the vegan scene in Barcelona, because what most foreigners think of, they think of jamón, and they can't possibly imagine coming to Spain and not just being forced to have jamón shoved down your throat. But you've been doing it for 13 years. How do you survive in the land of jamón?
Well, I mean, in the very beginning, it wasn't as easy as it is today. We didn't have the variety as we have. So it has been a kind of spring of veganism in Barcelona. And step by step, we have been evolving into a more greener side, and it has been super beautiful. And we also gather a lot of cuisines and gastronomic influences, so we embrace them all. And more people are joining the movement and becoming more open to new possibilities and less cruel ways of eating.
Does the vegan scene here include Spanish cuisine as well?
Of course, there are many places that they adopt or they think about how can we include or keep in mind this vegan tapas or Spanish traditional food in a vegan way. And I think this is what people is looking for. Okay, it's nice to, I don't know, or unfortunately, thanks to globalization, it feels like, okay, everywhere I go for a vegan option is a burger, or a quinoa bowl, or a Buddha bowl, and it can be super boring.
Right.
So I think whenever you want to come to Barcelona, it's super nice to explore and search for the vegan and more traditional Spanish dishes.
And if you want to create your favorite Spanish dishes a la vegana, you can learn how at In Bloom with Laura. Fresh off a whopping 10 years of living in Hamburg, Germany, where she was the frontwoman of Tape Shapes, a grunge rock band that taps into your love of bands like Nirvana, System of a Down, and Queen. But first and foremost, she's a cook. How did this dream start? Why did you get the idea to do this in Barcelona?
I've been a vegan cook for more than 15 years, and I always thought I would open a restaurant. But after the pandemic, I thought maybe there has to be something else that I can do also to interact with people, to teach people all the recipes that I've been gathering through all these years. And I thought, okay, maybe cooking school would be good. I found one cooking school in Hamburg where I worked for a year, and I thought from the beginning, this is my dream job. But I want to do it in my language, in my land, with the sun. So that's why I came here. I invested all the money and I opened.
How has I know it just opened in March, but how's the cooking school gone so far?
It's working really good. I'm really happy. I thought at the beginning it would be a little slower, but actually I'm having a lot of people from Barcelona and a lot of tourists also. I think because there are not many cooking schools in Barcelona that are completely plant-based, I have this luck that everybody chooses me because there's nobody else by now.
Yeah, no competition. You gotta...
Please don't open one, it's my turn.
I think she's mostly joking, but look at her. I wouldn't with her. Can you talk a little bit about what Catalan or even just Spanish cuisine can be when it's vegan?
Yeah, of course. From the beginning, what I did in my life was reproduce exactly the recipes from my childhood, my traditional recipes from the family and from my land in a completely plant-based recipe. From paella and tapas to Catalan cuisine, you can reproduce everything. You just use substitutes like soy, like chickpeas, like lentils, like soy cream, soy milk, and everything can be done.
You might be wondering where all of this B-roll of what Laura's talking about came from. That's because Melanie and I came back to Barcelona a few days later for Laura's vegan Catalan cooking class. But you'll have to be a patient little pimiento and wait for more on that. Next I meet up with Manel at his restaurant Potsdot. Manel didn't actually set out to put together a vegan menu. Gluten-free was and is his focus. But it just so happened that it was easier to do with a vegan menu.
Cuando empezamos a trabajar este proyecto, nos dimos cuenta que además del público celíaco, que tenía muchos problemas para encontrar una cocina saludable, vegetariana, vegana, etc., el público vegano también le costaba encontrar productos, cocina de calidad, cocina de aquí, o sea, mediterránea, de nuestro país, ¿vale? Porque la apuesta de Potsdot no solo es una apuesta para el mundo 100% celíaco, sino también es una apuesta para dar a conocer nuestra cocina de aquí tradicional a todo el mundo vegano. Nosotros no cogemos recetas del sudeste asiático, ni cogemos recetas del mundo árabe. Creemos que la cocina, nuestra cultura, la cultura española, la cultura catalana, tiene suficientes recursos como para dar una cocina de calidad y que sea muy interesante para el público al que queremos llegar, ¿no? Que son el mundo veggie y el mundo celíaco.
What wasn't easy was opening the restaurant during the pandemic, which is precisely what he and his co-founder did.
En la pandemia tenemos restaurantes tradicionales, normales, entre comillas, para que me entiendas, donde se come de todo, carne, pescado, verduras, legumbres, etc. Entonces teníamos 2 cocinas cerradas y todos los equipos en casa, encerrados, sin hacer nada. Entonces hacía mucho tiempo que teníamos en la cabeza que queríamos sacar un proyecto más saludable, sostenible, porque muchos de nosotros sí que tenemos esta conciencia. Luego tenemos también familiares, amigos que son celíacos, que no pueden comer todos los platos que ofrecíamos en nuestro restaurante tradicional, clásico. Y entonces por eso empezamos a pensar, oye, ahora tenemos tiempo, ¿qué tal si nos ponemos a trabajar en esta línea? Empezamos a trabajar, me acuerdo que el primer plato que nos vino a la cabeza es, oye, ¿podemos hacer una tortilla de patatas rica, buena, sin huevos? Y hablamos con nuestro chef, asesor, y nos dijo, sí, ningún problema, vamos a probarlo y de verdad veréis que es posible hacer una buena tortilla de patatas vegana. Y sí, la probamos, nos encantó y ese fue el punto de partida para empezar a desarrollar toda la línea de producto.
And let me tell you from my first-hand noshing experience, holy hell, everything was phenomenal. The sobrasada, the Spanish omelet, the paella, every last thing that got into my mouth was an absolute treat. But there's no time to rest because I've got one more stop to make, Botanic. I came here earlier in the month and it was love at first bite, so I knew I had to come back for more. Marco here hails from Italy, but he's been doing his thing in Barcelona since around 2007. In 2013, he opened his first vegan project, Quinoa, just around the block, and Botanic made its debut just a little over a year ago. I asked him the question of the day, how does he survive as a vegan in the land of jamón?
Barcelona es bastante europea como ciudad, entonces, y hay muchas ofertas, como decís, entonces creo que es bastante fácil.
Marco says he thinks that adding fish and meat to traditional Spanish dishes developed over time as a way to enrich simple dishes. So now when you remove those things, some view it as a lesser dish when, at least from his point of view, they were never necessary in the first place. Kind of like the culinary equivalent of adding a sunroof to a submarine. And when you eat at places like Botanic, it's hard to argue that these dishes are missing anything, let alone meat.
Espero que la gente siga creyendo en locales veganos porque creo que además de una oferta o solamente de un plato hay más valores por detrás. Entonces, por lo que hay muchos restaurantes con oferta vegana, el hecho de un local para los pequeños empresarios que apuestan para por esta identidad, por esta tipología de estilo de vida, espero que toda la gente lo apoye y que sigan sitios 100% de verdad sin maltrato animal.
After chatting with Marco, I start the roughly hour-long walk to the aforementioned In Bloom cooking school. Laura guided Melanie and I through prep for a Catalonian vegan feast. There's veggie paella, a Spanish omelet, stuffed peppers with mashed cauliflower, and jackfruit pepper pie. Friends, acquaintances, sworn enemies, I've had the incredible privilege over the years to eat all over the world, from the shores of Lake Erie to the izakayas of Japan and everything in between. Believe me when I tell you that this was some of the most delicious, satisfying food I've ever had the pleasure of stuffing down my wildly undeserving gullet. I'll leave a link in the description so you can sign up for your own class, and I'll leave links to Sandra's vegan tours, Potsdam, and Botanic so you know where to go when you visit Barcelona. That's all for this one. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment letting me know what your favorite vegan city is. Next time, I'll give you a behind-the-scenes look at the Kalima co-living and co-working cafe just outside of Barcelona to wrap up this little month in Catalonia video series. In the meantime, you can watch this video where I run across Parc Collserola in Barcelona, or you can go watch this video in Montserrat where, wait for it, big twist, I run around.